Here are 3 tools to become a better communicator in your marriage. I'm Brian Bandis, and this is The Married Man.
It's time to put on your big boy pants.
All right, boys, let's get to business. This is The Married Man, where we talk about what matters most, and you know what that is. That is bringing your absolute best as a husband and as a father. Now, here are 3 ways that you can communicate better in your marriage, and let me tell you, communication is key. It might be cliche, but it's cliche because it's true. When I'm communicating clearly, when I'm communicating effectively, intimacy is built and created and sustained. That means I am conveying who I am authentically to my wife, and it means that I'm listening well and learning and understanding who she is. And the heart of true intimacy is to know and to be known, which means that good communication is at the heart of true intimacy in your marriage. So let's talk about 3 different ways that you can do that a little bit better. Step number 1. I don't know if it's actually a step. Idea number 1, tool number 1, strategy number 1. I don't know. Here's the first one. Listen to learn. Everyone at any age gets caught in the trap of listening simply to wait their turn to get whatever they have queued up out of their mouth and into the ears whoever's listening. Oftentimes we will ask questions frankly, just to lead to what we want to say, we want to talk about, or if we're in an argument, we're trying to trap somebody. If you can be mindful of specifically listening to learn, listen with the desire to gain new understanding and new insight into who your wife is and what makes her tick, what lights her up, what excites her, what scares her, what does she dream about, what does she fear. Develop a hunger to know those things and listen intently and purposefully. Listen actively to know and understand more than you did before. If you listen to learn, it will 100% foster intimacy in your marriage. Not only will you actually learn about your wife, but your desire to know more about your wife will be perceived by her and probably reciprocated. Secondly, and this is sort of a tough one to describe, develop a tone of curiosity in the way that you speak to your spouse and the way that you interact with her. What I mean by that is that we're not jumping to conclusions, we're not making assumptions, we're staying curious when it's positive and when it's negative. So even if I'm in a conflict, my tone can be accusational or it can convey a desire to understand. Now, me being curious doesn't mean, oh, I'm not sure if I believe what I believe. Maybe I do. Maybe I'm sure that this time I'm right. Even then, I can still seek to understand what is driving her perspective. When you speak with a tone of curiosity and when you communicate and convey a tone of curiosity, it's incredibly disarming. And it reels the other person back into a conversation, and it can diffuse a confrontational stature that you two have taken. So even if my wife and I are in conflict, I can admit, truthfully, I don't yet see it the way that you see it, and I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. And I don't know if you can hear that, but that tone can diffuse the situation. That tone can bring you back into communication rather than an adversarial, combative nature. So listen to learn, develop a tone of curiosity, and let me say, certainly there are instances where the tone of curiosity is not the appropriate response, okay? I'm not saying that 100% of the time that's your tone. Now here's number 3, and this is an awesome tool. This was a game changer for me. I learned this actually in the context of business and sales. And as soon as I heard it, I realized, oh my gosh, this is not a sales tactic. This is just good communication. And I immediately brought it home and implemented it when I was communicating with my wife. And it's a definite game changer. And it's very simple. Ask permission. Now, what I mean specifically is I began to ask permission before I just thrust my opinion out into the ether. I mean, as guys, we've all been there where our wife has something going on and we immediately start to shove our opinion of the appropriate solution down her throat. And instead of her being incredibly receptive and appreciative because we have solved her problem because we're so brilliant, she somehow gets annoyed and defensive and pissed off and like she just wants us to listen. I can think it's silly that she'd rather me just listen and pat her on the back than give a real solution, but sometimes that's what she needs. And whether or not I think it's silly, I can respect that as another person. That's what she wants right now. So here's how asking permission works. It's very simple. Do you just need to vent right now, or do you want me to tell you what I would do if I were you? Here's the beauty. Sometimes she tells me, I just want to vent. Great. Now I'm not going to waste my breath and make her angry and cause a problem by offering a solution that she doesn't want. But the really fantastic thing is, now if she says, yeah, I'd like to hear what you would do, the same opinion that might have pissed her off is actually going to be heard and received Heck, it might even get implemented. So here's the deal. Asking permission isn't this weak, passive, submissive thing. It's a respectful thing. It's a peer thing. I use the same thing when I talk to my guy friends. I go, man, are you just frustrated or do you want to like brainstorm together? It's the same idea. I respect where they're at enough to want to find out what they need. And with my wife, it's the same. I respect her enough to be curious about what she needs. And I care about her enough to want to give her what she needs. And in order for me to truly give her what she needs, I might want to ask her what she needs. So there's your 3 tools to communicate better in your marriage. That's all I got for you, boys. Listen, all I ask is that if you're getting something out of this, if these videos are somehow making you a better husband and a better father, then click that subscribe button. Here at The Married Man, we post 2 videos a week. I don't know why I always say we. I mean, it's really just me. Here at The Married Man, I post 2 videos a week. Click that subscribe button to continue twice a week to be challenged and encouraged to be the kind of husband and the kind of father that I know that you want to be. See you in a couple days.